Welcome to the deep dive. Sometimes you just need reminding of the incredible variety our planet throws at us.
Absolutely.
So today, we're taking a look at something seemingly simple, sand dunes. But we're using this list of 10 locations that are apparently truly exceptional.
Right.
Our
Yeah.
mission to kind of dig beneath the surface of these sandy landscapes and, well, uncover what makes each one so fascinating.
Exactly. We've got this great compilation basically highlighting 10 of the world's most beautiful sand dunes. And it's more than just, a pretty travel log. It's
Yeah.
really a chance to understand the forces shaping these dynamic environments and maybe even learn something surprising along the way.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting in Namibia with Sossusvlei. I mean, when you picture dramatic dunes, this is probably what comes to mind, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
We're talking about these towering, really vibrant red dunes surrounding a salt and clay pan in the Namib Desert. Now, a salt and clay pan, for those of us not fluent in geology, that's essentially just a flat, dried lake bed made of salt and clay, right?
Exactly. And what's fascinating here, and really contributes to that magnificent look, is the sheer timescale involved.
Hmm.
The sources point to centuries, literally centuries, of sand accumulating around these ancient dry lake beds.
Wow.
Just think about that, like generations of wind and sand slowly building these colossal structures.
Incredible.
And that red color itself, it hints at the iron content in the sand oxidizing over time, like rust, basically.
That image of slow, relentless buildings, yeah, really something. Okay, so from those red giants, let's jump over to Asia. The Badain-Juran Dunes, apparently the highest sand dunes on the continent. That's quite a claim.
It is, yeah, it's a big one. And their location kind of underscores their scale. They stretch across the Badain-Juran Desert in Mongolia and then dip into the vast expanse of the Gobi Desert in China.
Huge area.
Yeah, you're looking at a landscape where these monumental sand formations just completely dominate. What's particularly interesting, though, is that some of these dunes are actually stationary. Stationary.
How?
They're held in place by underground water sources, believe it or not, which is pretty unusual for dunes that tall.
Stationary giants in a shifting landscape.
Yeah.
I like that contrast. Okay, next up, a place you might know for its extremes, but maybe not its beauty in this specific form. Death Valley, California.
Ah, yes.
Lowest, hottest, driest. It doesn't exactly scream scenic dunes, does it?
Not immediately, no.
But our list says it's home to beautiful golden ones.
Well, it's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that beauty can pop up in really unexpected, even seemingly hostile environments.
Sure.
Despite those extreme conditions, the constant interaction of wind and the sand that is available has sculpted these stunning golden waves, and the lack of much vegetation really lets the pure form of the dunes stand out.
Absolutely. Okay, from those darkly beautiful dunes, we're heading to Morocco and Erg Chebi. This dune field sounds classic, reaching up to 150 meters high, stretching for kilometers.
Yeah, very picturesque.
But there's also this really intriguing cultural practice tied to this place.
Yes, this is where it gets particularly unique, I think. During the hottest parts of the year, locals traditionally bury themselves neck deep in the hot sand.
Neck deep. Wow.
Yeah, just for short periods as a treatment for rheumatism. It's a fascinating example of how people have adapted to and even, utilize these environments for their well-being. You have to wonder about the specific heat properties of that sand and, the potential benefits they've observed over generations.
That's incredible. Talk about embracing your environment.
Mm.
Okay, now we travel to Venezuela, Médanos de Coro National Park.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have massive sand dunes, or médanos, spread out over a pretty significant area, reaching up to 40 meters. What caught my eye here is that they're constantly being reshaped by strong winds.
Yeah, that constant reshaping is key. Unlike some of the maybe more stable dune fields we've talked about, the Médanos de Coro are just a prime example of the fluid nature of these sandy ecosystems.
Right.
The prevailing trade winds off the Caribbean coast are the main sculptures here, meaning the landscape is just in a perpetual state of flux. It's a very dynamic kind of beauty.
A living, breathing sandscape. I like that. Okay, our sandy safari continues to the Arabian Peninsula and the Rub al Khali,
Ah, the empty quarter.
which chillingly translates to the empty quarter.
Yeah, that definitely paints a picture. And the fact that it's the world's largest continuous sand desert certainly backs it up.
The scale is almost, unimaginable. 1,000 kilometers long, 500 kilometers wide.
It's just massive.
And dunes reaching up to a staggering 250 meters. It truly is an ocean of sand. The sheer volume of sand and Eons of wind action have created this immense and, in many ways, still largely unexplored landscape.
From one colossal desert to another, we next find ourselves in the Libyan Desert, part of the Sahara. This region boasts not one, but three major sand seas, and some truly immense dunes, apparently hitting heights of up to 512 meters.
512 meters.
That's taller than some skyscrapers.
Yeah.
It really puts the scale of these natural formations into perspective, doesn't it? To think that these towering structures are built grain by grain, just by the wind. It's quite humbling.
It really is.
And the existence of those three distinct sand seas within the Libyan desert also suggests, different geological histories and maybe different wind patterns at play within the larger Sahara.
Interesting. Okay, now let's cross continents again to Europe. The Great Dune of Pila in France, also known as the Dune of Pilate.
Ah, yes. A bit different.
This one's a record holder, too, Europe's tallest sand dune, and apparently a major tourist attraction. Over 1 million visitors annually.
Yeah, it's very popular. What makes the Dune of Pila so unique is its dramatic juxtaposition with the surrounding environment. It sits right where a large pine forest meets the Atlantic coast, about 60 kilometers from Bordeaux.
So green forest, blue ocean, giant dune.
Exactly. Its impressive dimensions like half a kilometer wide, almost 3 kilometers long, and currently over 100 meters high make it a truly striking and somewhat unexpected natural wonder in Europe.
Definitely unexpected for Europe. Okay, our penultimate stop takes us to Mexico and the Samalayuca Dune Fields, or Médanos de Samalayuca. These are described as a series of large but separated fields of sand dunes in Chihuahua. That separation makes me wonder.
Yeah, the fact that they're not one continuous sea of sand, but rather distinct fields, it suggests that the local geography and wind patterns have probably created these isolated pockets of dune formation.
Okay.
There might be underlying rock formations or maybe variations in vegetation that have influenced where the sand actually accumulates and how the fields are defined.
Interesting how local factors play in. And finally, we arrive at White Sands National Monument in New Mexico.
Ah, a personal favorite.
This place sounds truly otherworldly because, unlike all the golden and red hues we've seen, the dunes here are made of brilliant white gypsum crystals.
Yeah. This unique composition is what gives White Sands its just breathtaking appearance. Gypsum dunes are actually quite rare compared to the usual silica-based dunes. And their formation involves the weathering of gypsum deposits and then the transportation of those crystals by the wind. It's a whole different process.
So not typical sand at all.
Not really, no. And the fact that these dunes are constantly changing shape and slowly moving downwind, it just further emphasizes the dynamic nature of all these sandy landscapes, even the seemingly static white ones.
Wow, what a journey across the sandy face of the earth.
Right.
You're right, the sheer diversity is incredible.
It really is.
From those iron-rich reds in Namibia to the pure gypsum white in New Mexico, and just the dramatic differences in scale.
Absolutely. And when you think about the primary forces at play, wind, obviously, but also the initial sources of the sand, whether it's eroded rock or, like in Sossusvlei, material deposited by ancient rivers, you start to see this complex interplay of geological processes happening over just vast stretches of time. And we've seen how these landscapes can be seemingly barren, yet they also support unique ecosystems and even play a role in human traditions, like in Morocco.
Yeah, that rheumatism treatment.
Exactly.
It really makes you think about these seemingly simple landscapes as anything but static, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely not static.
They're constantly being shaped and reshaped by the relentless power of nature. It makes you wonder, what other hidden wonders do you think are being sculpted right now by these same fundamental forces, wind and time, out there across the globe?
That's a great question. There must be countless examples we don't even know about yet.